What Michael Cohen, the president's former attorney, told a judge yesterday was that he committed a crime in coordination with and at the direction of the President of the United States. That was a damaging thing for Michael Cohen to say. It leads right to the president's doorstep here. The White House is going to have to respond to all of this. Take a look here at a breakdown of the different charges, because we have two separate cases. Michael Cohen pleading guilty yesterday to 8 counts. He's pleading on tax evasion, bank fraud, and the campaign finance violation is the key to this, because that's the one in which he says he paid off women who alleged that they had sexual affairs with President Trump at the direction of then candidate Trump. So that's the one that involves the President of the United States. Meanwhile, Paul Manafort, the president's former campaign chairman, was found guilty on 8 charges yesterday of 18 that were brought against him by a jury. That involves tax fraud from 2010 to 2014. Failure to file a foreign bank account in 2012, bank fraud related to Citizens Bank for $3.4 million. So a host of allegations there against Paul Manafort, and also bank fraud against Bank of California for $1 million, all of that predating his involvement with the President of the United States. Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney, put out a statement yesterday in which he said, in essence, that none of this was an allegation of wrongdoing. He said there's no allegation of any wrongdoing against the president in the government's charges against Mr. Cohen. He also said it's clear that, as the prosecutor noted, Mr. Cohen's actions reflect a pattern of lies and dishonesty over a significant period of time. All of that quite damaging yesterday to the President of the United States. He responded by saying there's simply no collusion between himself and the Russians, saying he feels badly for the 2 men involved. But then last night, Lanny Davis, Michael Cohen's attorney, went on television and he said that Cohen is happy to tell prosecutors what he knows about the computer crime of hacking and whether or not Mr. Trump knew ahead of time about that crime and even cheered it on. So it may be that there's more to come here in terms of these Michael Cohen revelations, and we'll have to wait and see for all of that, guys. Back over to you.
Hey, Eamon, out of all the craziness yesterday, what kind of surprised you the most, if anything?
Michael Cohen, I think a lot of us were looking to see whether Michael Cohen struck a plea deal. He did take that deal. It's not clear what his cooperation situation is right now. The documents that we saw yesterday were silent on whether or not he's cooperating, but you saw Lanny Davis go out last night and say that, suggest broadly that there was a computer crime that Michael Cohen might know about and might be willing to talk to prosecutors. That indicates to me that this step yesterday with Michael Cohen was just the beginning and not the end of the Michael Cohen side.
Right. It didn't say that he was cooperating, but that doesn't necessarily preclude him from doing that. I thought the same thing. When you hear from his lawyer a little later, it sounded like they were fishing for some sort of a deal.
Well, in many cases, what happens is you plead guilty to this deal. I'm told that the tradition is in the Southern District of New York that you plead to the highest level of potential crime and potential jail time, and then if you're cooperating, you work that off, try to get your jail time down as low as you possibly can as a cooperator. I'm also told that it's possible that any cooperation agreement between Cohen and the government is still under seal. There might be other documents related to this that we haven't seen publicly yet.
It's just strange that his lawyer was out on the air yesterday. I mean, it made it seem that there were still things in play.
Well, remember, Cohen released tapes of his own conversations with the President of the United States. I mean, that happened several weeks ago. So Cohen has changed his mind on sort of where he stands on the president dramatically. He used to be the guy who said, I'll take a bullet for President Trump. And then he came out and said, forget that. My first loyalty is to my family and to my country. And then he started releasing these tapes that he had of his conversations with the president. That's a dramatic turnaround for a guy who was privy to some of the president's most closely held secrets, including these payments to women who allege sexual affairs. So that's not something you want to see if you're the White House. White House aides were almost entirely buttoned up in the West Wing yesterday, not commenting on any of this on the record. You get a sense that they want the outside legal team to handle it and Rudy Giuliani to handle all of it. And we'll wait and see what the impact is on the president's ability to sort of do business as usual in Washington going forward with these things hanging over his head.